this. Oh, that was not what I wanted at all. And we're in BIOS, so let's go ahead and undo. Probably confusing. More about that at the end of the video, though. No, you're not crazy. And remote. And walk around with the access, this is Phoenix as we expected. We have a Realtek Sardine USB 4 Thunderbolt controller. So there we go. We got two different temperature sensors graphed. Heat control comes off the CPU and edge comes off the GPU. So looks like our usage is spiked up. We hit 87C, which is kind of as expected. Power at the wall is hovering around 75 watts, roughly. And there's quite a bit of heat coming out here. So the fans suck in from the two sides. A little straight out the back here, underneath all these connectors. It's warm. It's not hot, but a lot of air. Not that much, but okay. It hit 91 Celsius heat control. I also like to point out that an all-core stress test is not at all representative of what a real CPU does. Even if you're doing virtualization, home lab kind of stuff, you're not going to be pegging your home lab CPU day in, day out. Unless you're doing AI that's using CPUs and GPUs, I wouldn't use it. Let's give it our long-term power. Our temperatures are falling very suddenly down to 83, and our power level is falling down to 62 watts. Other mobile CPUs of the generation, the class. There are higher-end mobile graphics out today. This is, of course, a mobile CPU. Obviously, this is not nearly as good as a discrete graphics card, but if you just need some basic graphics performance, mobile GPUs are really not that bad. So, what do I think about the W04 here? Well, to ground this discussion, this model I have in my hand right now, 32 gigs of DDR5 and a 1 terabyte Gent long-term, is that because the lid is held down with magnets, when you're changing the M.2 value, you can get the screw to jump over to the magnet and get stuck under the magnet. So then it doesn't rattle around, it's just stuck to the magnet, which I find kind of frustrating. Of course, I'm changing M.2s a lot more than you probably are. You're probably just putting your M.2 and being done with it. But I change these things out to test them all day, so that's what I think. Also, this is the newer CPU. So this is a Ryzen 5 7640. The last one's the 5600, so it's a newer generation Ryzen processor. We've got Thunderbolt with that, which is really cool. I like seeing Thunderbolt. Great for mini PC networking. If you get two of these, you can do a high-speed Thunderbolt, fast going between them. They don't even have to be this one, just two different things with Thunderbolt. If used as a mini server, for example, you can plug this in with your laptop with Thunderbolt, and get high-speed storage for editing or something like that without having to buy a 10 gig NIC for your laptop, which is also cool. I'm not going to use it for that, but I'm sure plenty of people do. Build quality. Build quality seems adequate. Pretty much everything is plastic except the heatsink, obviously. The cooler is quite beefy. You guys saw it earlier in the video. Magnetic lid is very nice for access, although the magnets can be frustrating at times. It's very, very easy to work on. There's only two things to change inside, really, the RAM and the SSD. You get two SSD slots. Both are blazing fast and 4x4. Nice to see that. Some of these mini PCs give you like the second slot at lower bandwidth, lower lane count. Not these guys. Good on them. Also good on using dual channel RAM. Far too many of these in systems, especially the Intel ones, only have single channel RAM. Probably Intel's fault, but whatever. 32 gigs, plenty of RAM for mini PC here. This would be an excellent little server. It's got dual NICs. They are different NICs, unfortunately. So one's 2.5 gig, one's 1 gig. Most people that use 2 NICs would probably like them to be the same. Most people that use 2.5 gig also probably don't need 2 NICs, or they need more than 2 NICs. I don't know. You've got options, I guess. They are all Realtek NICs for the wired. That makes a lot of sense to me because the Intel 2.5 gig NICs, even though the people that use pfSense say they're the best NIC ever, they have a lot of problems. So if you're using an operating system based on Linux or Windows, you really probably want the Realtek NIC, or you really want the Quantum NIC, Marvell. That's my favorite 2.5 gig NIC, but it's not in a lot of mini PCs. Most of them use either the Intel i226, i225, or the Realtek. So this is Realtek. The Wi-Fi is MediaTek. I didn't look up the exact specs on that. I believe it does not do 6 gigahertz. It's a dual MIMO, basic stuff, but perfectly adequate. Actually, in Wi-Fi land, also using MediaTek is better than Intel because Intel can't do Wi-Fi hotspotting. So for whatever reasons, Intel drivers will refuse to do hotspotting on 5 gigahertz or 6 gigahertz on devices with 4 to 6. So you can't use this as an access point if it has an Intel Wi-Fi. But this is not Intel Wi-Fi, this is MediaTek, and MediaTek lets you do whatever you want, so good on that. So this guy, I'm going to put him back in the box and put him back on my shelf, where all of the other mini PCs I have live. I have just recently started selling these guys on eBay because I moved to Finland. I am in the US temporarily for just a few more weeks. I never actually intended on selling all these guys. They're actually pretty useful for testing other things in the lab, just kind of accumulating them. And I kind of feel bad selling them because they get sent to me for review. But I don't have the space, I have to get rid of them, so I'm selling them. This guy might or might not get listed, I'm not sure yet. But if he does, drop where you came from on eBay, I'll give you half price or less. So, yeah. Also check out my Discord server, that's where I message things like this frequently. They've been very helpful to me, not on this guy specifically, but on a lot of my other projects. We chat about wild things there all the time. If you want to give me a tip, I have a Ko-fi link down below for that as well. And
basically asked, hey, does brand matter, or is one brand better than another? And the comment that really sort of triggered this video said, it doesn't effing matter, they're all exactly the same. Today we're going to talk about how they're not exactly the same, and what you need to think about when you're shopping for parts for your PC. Introducing the XTM3 from Fantex, micro ATX chassis built for power and performance. Compact yet packed with potential, the XTM3 features support for rear connect motherboards, dedicated radiator space at the top, and triple fan locations at the bottom to help keep your GPU cool. With its innovative layout and sleek, clean design, the XTM3 is ready to take on almost any gaming PC configuration and cooling challenge. Check out the link in the description for more details. Now the funny thing about that statement is, let's talk about a couple of major components. Let's talk about major components here. We're not going to talk about cases. RAM, look, as long as the RAM is on the QVL for your motherboard, it's pretty much guaranteed to work at the speeds that are advertised on the RAM. So a set of RAM that is able to do 6,000 megatransfers at CL28 is going to perform exactly like another set of RAM that does 6,000 megatransfers, CL28, if it's on the QVL. So that brand at that point doesn't necessarily matter because it's not the kind of component that is having huge fluctuations in the way that it performs. For instance, like a graphics card and the cooler designs, or motherboards and the VRM designs and the VRM coolers and such. So let's go ahead and start with motherboards here real quick, because a Z790 board for Intel is not equivalent to another Z790 motherboard from Intel. Motherboard manufacturers have a huge range of build quality when it comes to motherboards. And the reason